Good morning, I'm Jerry Lindberg and welcome to my shop. Have a small shop here that I've got all my tools and everything in. I've got my lathe and my wall is full of tools and everything. And behind I got a miter saw that doesn't have a home on another wall because the rest of it's all taken up. So, but I'd like to run through a demo. My wife, a co-worker of my wife's, has a broken earring, and she was wondering if I could make her a new one. So this is what the earring looked like, and I had never made one before, but I thought, what the heck, I'm going to give this a shot. So I knew from past that Ruth Niles has a real nice jig for making jewelry, but I don't have one, and I wasn't going to spend the money on buying one nor waiting the length of time and the exchange of the dollar and that. So I thought there's got to be a method to do this for her. So I set about to find a way to do this inexpensively. So I found a way to do it, and so for new turners out there, we're going to run through some jigs for jam chucks to make an earring. So to begin with, I've made some blanks, and I've just run them through my drum sander, and I've just turned them with a jig, and I'll show you how I did this, and we can make these round. So we'll start with that, and I've just put a piece of wood on here so that we can mount so we'll put my chuck on here, and this is a Vic Mark 100 with long nose jaws. Gonna quickly put this on here. Now I don't want to force that on there too hard. I don't want to make a big dent in there in the wood, so we'll just kind of hold it for a minute, and it'll seal itself onto the back plate here. So we can move the tool rest up, make sure we're going to spin it, make sure that there's nothing that's going to hit. Move this back. Maybe what I'll do is so there we go. So for security here, I am going to put my live revolving center in here, but I took the point out of it, so because I didn't want to make a big hole. So I guess you can hear me. I'm not going to put my dust mask on or anything. And this isn't a lot of turning anyway, but so it's not real big with a lot of dust on here. But okay, so we're all set to go here. But now we're going to start this up and make sure everything's tight. And we're going to make this round. And I'm just using a small bowl gouge. So from in the past here, I know that my I have a reference here what I want to get to is about 60 millimeters. So there, we're at about 60.5 millimeters, which is about what I want to be. So I'm okay with that. So now that we've got our blanks prepared, we can take these off. And I have, or I had, so I'm just going to peel this off and take this other part here. So now I have, oops, and I dropped it. Oops, where'd it go, Bert? Can't see it. Oh, there we are. Okay, so now we've got two blanks that we can use for a pair of earrings. So now, how am I going to hold this? I'm going to change my chuck. Now I don't have on this chuck I don't have an insert with a plate on it, and I don't want to spread my key out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a bigger chuck. This is a Vic Mark 120. And what I've done is I've taken two jaws out. So I've left two of them in, and we're gonna hold our and make a jig to hold our blanks. So now I'm gonna pull out the other one here with the point. Alright, so I've got this, I know which jaws are, so here again I've made a point and I've centered my little jam chuck that we're going to make. Oh, too far. Alrighty. So I'm just going to set this in here with my center point. If I can find it there, I can. Oh, there we go. So, smaller key, get a bigger key. Now I want to make sure that we're set. The block is on the back end of the bottom, out on the jaws, and I want this to be spread out because I want the 2 points of the jaws to be touching, and they're going to make a mark. And I'm just going to make a little mark here for where the points are in, and I'm going to mark this jaw. This one is number 2, so that if I take it out, I know which side to go back to. So I am going to take some of these points off of here, but I don't need to take them all off. I just want to get this part round here on the front part. So again, we're just going to slightly move our banjo in, make sure that there's nothing touching. Face shield. Okay, so I've taken these corners off so that makes it a little bit safer. And now what I want to do is I want to be able to get a 60mm hole or mortise in so that we can jam fit one of our earrings in. So I'm just setting my calipers here at 30 millimeters. And I'm just going to draw a reference mark on here. So there, that'll be close. We'll fine tune it as we get closer here. Okay, so we want to. I don't want to mix these up here. I want to make sure. Okay. So we'll leave that there for now. So now we have to create ourselves a little bit of a mortise so we can jam our. And I'm just going to start with the bowl gouge here again and make a little bit of a indent here. Okay. All right, so you take this out of here, we don't want to end up with turner's elbow, they call it, and we smack an elbow in that sharp point. So now we're going to make a 10 in here. What I've got is my scraper, and we're going to go a little bit above center, because what happens is with the bottom, where are we here? The bottom part of the tool, as you're going in, if you're too low, it forces your scraper to the side and not being able to make a straight cut. So I want to be just a little bit high so that the bottom part of the scraper doesn't hit the wood. So we're going to do this. So it's going to have, and I set it up here to see how close we are. And I've given myself lots and lots of room here, so got a ways to go yet. And this is where you just take your time and make sure you get this, because you don't want to be messing around with tissue paper trying to hold it in. So there's no rush. Take your time. If you have to do it 3 or 4 times or 10, it doesn't matter. I don't want to go very deep. Oh yeah, we're still got it. Alright, we'll just keep working on this until we can get it to fit in there. And I'm just taking off just a tiny, tiny little bit, making sure I get that wall straight. I'm watching down at 4 o'clock here, about approximately, to see how much I'm taking off. You know what I did? I took my mark off, which I should have. Okay, well, we'll do it a different way, I guess. I took my mark off. I'll double check these with the calipers, see how close we are. Pretty close, but not close enough. Very close. Still not there. Thought we'd have it that time. That's now I got stuck in there. All right, one more little bit. Okay. So if we do happen to get this chucked in here or stuck in there, we got to find a way out. So this will be our way out. We're going to drill a hole through the middle so we can tap our earring out from the back. We're going to turn our lathe down to about 500 RPM. And hang on to the Jacob's chuck so it doesn't spin. coat the back. Now what I've done to make my jam chuck is just a piece of 2x4, so it's not the best wood, but it works for this application. Okay. Okay, so we're going to jam this in here. I think I might need to deepen that just a little bit. Do that with the bowl gouge. Turn your speed back up. And tool rest is just a touch high. Flatten that out. Okay, so now we've got this jammed in here, and going to look at. I like just a dome shape, so that's what we're going to start with. And I just like to be able to use these pull shortcuts. Okay, so there, I've just got kind of a little rounded dome shape on the top. We're not going to do any finishing or anything, but I will just do a little bit of sanding here. We'll turn this down to 500 again. Okay, so our next little task is to make our hole here in our earring. But in case it breaks out in the back here, we're going to do this now rather than flipping it around and doing the hole later. So what I've done is on top here, and I guess I kind of messed that up a little bit. I should have moved it over and got my other jaws in there before we made our mark. So what we're going to do is over here we're going to measure, we're going to move the chuck over 6 millimeters. So we'll use that mark to do that. Now, should square that up a little bit. Okay, so we'll set these back in the jaws, and this is where they were before. So now I'm going to move the jam chuck over so that this line lines up with the point of that other jaw. And I made sure that I'm sitting flat on the bottom. And we're going to, there we go. Tighten those back down again. So now we've offset the earring. And you can see it offset spinning here. So we're going to drill another hole here. I'm going to use a different bit. And this is a 1 inch. So we're still at 500 here. And we're going to drill a hole. I'm just going to go slowly here. I don't want to be breaking anything out in the back by pushing too hard. Okay, so we're going through there now. Okay, so now I have enough trouble with my hands that I'll just do this. And we can just come from the back here, like through that hole. We can tap the back of the earring out. And put this back on. Now we're going to flip our earring around. Now because of the dome, I may not be deep enough in the back here. It doesn't look like it, so we're going to just deepen this a little bit. We'll line this up here again. And we'll jam this back in. And we can dome this other side. Now it looks like we're kind of out a little bit. Oops. I knocked it out. Now I'm pretty sure there's more ways to do this than what I'm showing here. Oh. Alright, I'm going to have to open this up a little bit. I didn't make it deep enough to start with, but so we're going to go back to our original chucking. Okay. Keep grabbing the wrong key.
Gotta paint one a different color.
Yeah. Alright, so now we'll go back here. And you can see here as it's spinning around, we're cutting wood, air, so you just got to be able to practice holding your chisel so that you just draw it in a nice dome shape here, and don't fall into the airspace. Okay, so. I think that worked out quite the way I wanted it to. So there, essentially we've got ourselves an earring. It's thicker than what I would like, this particular one, but you can work on it a little bit more and get them so that they're far thinner like this one here. But it's a good way to get started on doing some of these earrings, small jewelry, brooches. We can drill a hole. Could drill a hole here and be able to get an earring. Do you know what they call them? The clasp, or what to slide it in.
Findings.
Pardon?
Findings.
Findings. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So you can buy findings and put that in there. It's also a nice brooch. You can get a piece of leather or some nice string or something and tie it on here, and the ladies can wear it as a brooch. You can go even a step further. I've watched Alec and Lauren Zenrick, I think their name, and she does some really nice pyrography and that on the earrings, and makes brooches and pendants. It makes it really beautiful. So there you have it. There's how I've done it, and it's a simple, quick method to get you started in this anyway. There are, Ruth Niles sells a jig where you don't have to provide your own jam chuck, and the jig is really nice. It gives you a lot of different opportunities where you could start to offset things. If you wanted to make like half moons and stuff, if you wanted to, you could tip this out and be able to cut in different things, and I haven't tried that yet. I might even try that. Let's see what we can get here. So one thing though that I didn't pay a lot of attention to that time, and I really should have, and I meant to do this before, is you can see maybe here on the grain of the wood, I don't know, can you see the grain there? I didn't really position that hole very well. I just drilled the hole, and I should have maybe positioned it so it was a little bit more up here. With the grain it would look much nicer. But I'm curious now if we could actually do something here. Well, when I hit it, I jammed it in there. So if I tip this out, there's not a lot of options. Here. So let's just have a look, see here. Okay, well, we could do something like that. Let's give that a shot here. Like I said, I hadn't tried this yet, but what I want to do is I make a couple of crescent shapes here, and I think what I'm going to use is I have a Richard Raffin point tool. So let's see where we're at here. We're a bit low. So let's see if we can do this here. I'd like to go a little bit deeper. So there. Pop that out. No, not quite. Take that off. Let's pop this out of here. So this hole here is invaluable, as you can see. So there we go. We got a couple of little crescent shapes there. So that's something that you can add to your pendant or earrings, to little design opportunities there. So that's helpful. But I know with the Ruth Niles jig, it gives you more options because you can tilt it and move things around. And this one's a little limitations to it, but you can certainly, as a new turner or whatever, you can certainly be able to make pendants this way and have a lot of fun with it. And for any of the more experienced turners, I'm sure there's probably different ways that you would like to attempt this, but maybe you can take it further and do some decoration and what have you for the pendants that you can make. So there you go. That's how I do it. Or how I did it in order to make the fix the broken earring for my wife's coworker. And as it turned out, I couldn't match the wood for the original, so I just made her a brand new pair, and she was thrilled with them. So
That's better too.
pardon?
That's better too.
Oh yeah, the brand new pair. So here's another pair out of walnut that I made. Yeah, I'm trying to figure. Oh, there we are. That's better. So that's what I've done. You can see here now I've paid a little more attention to the grain, and I've got it so that they're both sides are lined up, so that they look symmetrical. Now you can, if you were to turn it this way, you've got more options here. You could do the hole up here and have the grain running horizontal. I liked it vertical, so that's the way I made these ones. So, and then this just takes a small little hole here for the findings, and I tried to make them thin, like this, and you don't want them too heavy. The one that we just made, I think, is probably, I'd work on it a little bit more so it's not quite so heavy, but there we go.